Yo, what's up, everybody? Today, I'd like to talk about the things that I'd like to see added into Wayfinder. To start it all off, I'd like to talk about trading. Yeah, I know it's pretty split right now for trading, right? Like, and I can see both arguments on why we should and why we shouldn't have trading. I get it. I totally understand both sides, right? But at the end of the day, what game right now, besides Destiny 2, that has a decent player base, does not have some form of trading, maybe like an auction house, limited trading, whatever, right? Destiny 2 is the only game right now that does not have trading, that is kind of like a quote unquote, collection game, as they say this is, right? Like when you go and grind for gear, try to get better gear, run stuff, right? Destiny 2 is the only one. Like, look, even Diablo 4, even Diablo 3 had like limited trading, right? Where you could trade pieces as long as they were in the party within a certain amount of time. And I feel like having trading will help with the longevity of the game itself, right? Let's look at Warframe's free-to-play model, for instance. Okay, you can literally go into the game, spend zero money, and make premium currency, right? This, in turn, I feel will make people want to spend money on your game because they don't feel the need that they have to do so, right? Like, if I feel like I have to spend money to get somewhere in a game, like, I don't want to do it, right? But if I feel like I want to do it, I'm apt to spend not only more money, but more often, Also, having multiple of like a certain essence, for instance, feels bad. Like, I have like 7 long shot essences, I think they are, right? Like, it just feels bad that it's just sitting there right now. Like, what am I going to do with 7 of these things? Craft 7 of those guns, like level them up, like, I mean, granted, if you have read their roadmap, which looks really good, by the way, if you haven't checked it out, I'll go ahead and link it in the description below. But they're going to have this thing called Ascendancy, right? And what I guess essentially Ascendancy does is, you level something up and then like you can Ascendancy, like you can put it into the weapon, same for Wayfinders, yada, 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 give you more power, kind of thing. Right. But even then, though, like having, like I said, it's having multiples of the same item is just still going to feel bad regardless of having that Ascendancy in there or not. Right. I also, like, if I have some friends that just start playing the game and stuff like that, I want to be able to help them out. So, and there's also an excerpt from the community manager, Sir Snarf. It looks like he had said this on July 20th of this year. He's like, there is no trading at the moment. The main concern is for when the game goes free to play. What concern is there really, though, right? Like, are they concerned of people, quote unquote, paying to win? Because everybody's doing that right now, essentially, right? Like, we paid money, we got, some premium currency, and you can buy power with that currency, essentially, right? Like, you can get, like a new Wayfinder or a gun. It's the same thing in Warframe, though, right? And I feel that Warframe has the best free to play, like, in the industry right now. Like, their free to play model is probably the best. You can literally go into that game, no money spent at all. Like, kind of make your way through the game, run some relics, sell some stuff for premium currency. I mean, that's how I started. I spent zero money at first for Wayfinder, or excuse me, not Wayfinder, Warframe, and I have spent quite a bit of money on that game, and it's because I wanted to. I wanted to support a game that I feel is good, and like their free to play model is very, very, very fair, very fair. All right. The second one I would like to touch on is, I guess it's more or less like a feature, and that would be like a matchmaking toggle with more options, right? So right now, when you queue into something, it's always automatically going to be matchmaking is always on, right? I having like a toggle to just like leave it off, or friends only, or like invite only, or something like that, huge, because like there's just sometimes when I'm just trying to farm a certain thing, or like I'm doing specific quests and stuff like that, where I would just like to just leave it completely off, you know? The third thing I would like to touch on is a search function for echoes. Like, and you'd be able to search, like, you know, by like a specific stat, for instance, right? Like, so right now, let's say on my NIS, I want to search for echoes that have weapon power, you know, because like I'm trying it out, you know, I like to try out new things. So right now with my NIS, like I'm trying to build just straight weapon power. You know how hard it is to cycle through that, through all the echoes that I have to find what has like weapon power by itself, let alone weapon power and a second stat that I want, right? Like it's frustrating, but I mean, it is what it is right now. But these are all things like I would like to see added in. The fourth thing I would like to touch on is this is kind of like, I don't know. Some people like this and some people don't. But I like to see it. And that would be like a better end of mission stats. And yes, I know it can bring in toxicity because, you know, people will obviously be like, oh, well, you did crap damage, blah, 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 blah. I mean, right now, I don't even have like the chat function on. Like, I don't care what people are saying, whatever. I'm just playing the game, right? I would like to know how much damage I've done, you know, because like I want to see, I would like to see if the build is working better, you know. Stuff like that would definitely help out a bit more with like build crafting and stuff like that too, so you can see how much more or how much less you're actually doing, right? All right, the fifth thing I'd like to talk about is, you know, a couple like housing items when housing does come along, right? Like we'll have like the shared plots, neighborhoods, yada yada yada, right? But housing items that I feel like maybe should come in too, right? And one of these things would maybe be like a training dummy. Right, with a training dummy, you're able to see right then and there too. Like it would definitely help with like build crafting because you can see the damage. You can kind of guesstimate, you know, like there's no real DPS meter or whatever, right? But having a housing item for like a training dummy allows you to kind of like build craft like while you're in your house and just give it a go, you know, like while you're there. And just, you can kind of see, right? Like, okay, well, obviously, like I'm doing like 500 more damage per hit now. So you know that this build is obviously working a lot better, at least, you know, in the damage area, right? Another housing item maybe would be like how they have like the navigation thing in Warframe. So for instance, you put this thing down and then you can just queue for any one of like the expeditions and stuff like that, right? Like from your house. I feel like that would be something cool to have and add it in. And the last thing I would like to touch on is maybe like a full map system overhaul, because right now it is, to say the least, not as good as other map types, right? And I'm not saying like give me like, you know, like the overlay maps and stuff like that from like ARPGs, but just like a better map system in general. Right now, so let's say I'm running along in an expedition, for instance, right? I hit the map button, bring it up. I'm trying to move forward because I only pull it up really quick, right? To kind of see like the direction that I should be going. And I'm still trying to move while I have the map up because I don't want to stand still. I want to just keep moving. You know, obviously the quicker, you know, I go, the quicker I finish the expedition, yada, yada, yada. Right? But right now, if I do that, like I just get completely stopped and I can't move anywhere. And I have to like hit my W button a few times before it actually starts moving again. Right? Also, I feel like it's a bit harder to like find things. You know, like when you're like on the map itself and then like you kind of like hover over the waypoint, maybe have like what the waypoint, like where the waypoint is, and have it say, you know, the area that the waypoint is actually in. Because right now it just says like, you know, it's like a waypoint, like, or, you know, when you have your mouse over the specific waypoint itself. You know, but these are all things that I'm unsure if they're going to come later because these are all things that are just not in the roadmap itself. Right? But besides these things, I'm having fun playing Wayfinder, right? Like, I mean, like, yeah, it had a rough launch. Everybody knows that. It is what it is, right? Like Final Fantasy for Endwalker, horrible launch, right? Like New World, horrible launch. But look at how many people are still playing the game. You know, if you are sitting out there and you're unsure on if you should come back or not, definitely. You should definitely come back. Wayfinder has a great foundation to build on. And I feel like this game can go far. Alrighty, thank you everybody, and have a great day.